most flooring sold in the U.S. today? It's carpet. Carpet holds a 60% share of the U.S. flooring market, with 11 billion square foot sold every year.
246 million children. Life is nothing but work. Children of the carpet industry live in a netherworld of work. Tens of thousands work as bonded laborers chained to the loom. Young children are forced to do fine work in cramped positions for up to 13 hours a day. They suffer spine deformities and weakened eyesight, while poor ventilation fills their lungs with wool and dust.
Iqbal Masih, a child worker from rural Pakistan, was one of them. Iqbal's parents needed money so badly that they sent him to work in a rug factory like this one, when he was only 4 years old. At the factory, Iqbal was forced to work 14 hours a day for almost no pay. But he had no choice. The factory owner chained his leg to keep him from running away.
Forced and coerced and beaten in many cases to weave these beautiful carpets.
A new study has just been released revealing toxic substances found in something many of us have in our homes.
But a new report from the Ecology Center reveals 12 different carpets were tested from the nation's 6 largest manufacturers, and all of them tested positive for toxic substances.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, showing the pure evil files of the carpet and rug weaving industry files, deep dive, capitalism, child labor, pollution, true crime, etc. Let's get started into this YouTube video. But before we get started, all my YouTube videos related to this topic will be linked down in the YouTube description of this video down below, as well as on the screen right now if you'd like to check them out. So let's get started in this YouTube video. Carpets are a popular textile product which places an urgency on business owners to produce large quantities and mass-produce these products. Handmade woolen carpet industry is extremely labor-intensive and one of the largest export earners for India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Morocco. The use of child labor in these carpet industries where hand-woven rugs and carpets are produced has been well documented. If you bought a handmade Indian rug, it's quite likely it was made by child labor and woven by children. In areas of the world where rug weaving is a major income source for a family, children are expected to help with chores and bring in some of the income when possible, aka child labor. Weaving is a specialized skill passed down from parents to children, and it can mean more income for the family. Bonded and forced capitalism, slave labor, and child labor in general is evil and abusive. No matter the age of the person forced to work long hours for little pay or no pay, under excessively harsh working conditions, forced, coerced, or bonded debt slavery labor can be ignited when a poverty-stricken family requests a loan from a weaving contractor. In order to pay back the loan that was given to them, family members will be forced to work until the loan is paid off. It is unlikely that the loan will be paid back in a reasonable amount of time because of the extremely low wages and unfair high interest costs. Also, typically, the amount of debt remaining at any given time is kept from the family members, aka debt bondage, capitalism, slavery occurs. In Pakistan, in 1992, the Bonded Labor Abolition Act was actually put in place, but it is not regularly enforced. This was a study of the prevalence of working children and child labor in the production process of the export-oriented handmade carpet industry in Pakistan in 2009 through 2010. The study included wool processing activities, supplying yarn, as well as carpet production and furnishing. The survey estimated that 646 factories and 39,365 households were engaged in Pakistan's carpet industry as a whole, employing a total workforce of 105,915 usual workers, of whom 33,031 53.5% were children. More than half, 53.6%, of the child carpet workers were girls, but in factory-based, children were predominantly 78% boys. The study estimated that all 100% children working in the carpet industry in Pakistan were engaged in hazardous working conditions, child labor. In addition to the data showed, indicates that 4/5, 81.1% of the children worked excessive hours. There were strong indicators that many children working in the carpet industry and their families were in forced debt bondage labor, capitalism labor, as 1/5 of the households were in debt, and 2/3 of the people in debt households reported having difficulties paying off their debts. Children forced to work under poor conditions in weaving factories suffer in so many ways. Work-related injuries such as cuts from using sharp instruments, infections, ruined vision from working long hours in low light, respiratory tract infections from the thread dust that's toxic, and numerous body aches and pains. Even deformed spines have occurred. Malnutrition made worse by forced feeding of stimulants. They were only given 2 meals a day. Verbal and physical abuse, no education, minimum or no pay at all, wage theft. Some children may actually be sold by and human child trafficked by their parents to pay bills and thus permanently separated from their families via human child trafficking. In cases, the children were subsequently charged fees for living quarters. Food and water, medicine, and deductions were also put in place for errors made in the work job. The reporters say that research found that many children worked, ate, and slept inside rural carpet shacks, rarely, if ever, stepping outside for weeks or months. The report, Tainted Carpets, Slavery and Child Labor in India's Handmade Carpet Industry Sector, documents over 3,200 cases across 9 states in India and found several hundred cases each of forced child labor, bonded labor, debt labor, child labor, and overall human trafficking at carpet factories run by exporters who ship these rugs to some of the biggest retail stores in the United States. The report documents the supply chain of tainted carpets from the point of production to the point of retail sale in the United States. According to the report, some of the retail giants who sell carpets from these exporters and importers include Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, Target, Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, and IKEA, amongst others. Kara's team conducted this research across 9 states, covering areas where 95% of handmade carpets are woven. It found that a median roughly of 45% of all workers in India's handmade carpet sector industry suffer from forced labor under Indian law. Roughly 37% suffer from forced labor under international law, roughly 28% from bonded labor, debt bondage, roughly 20% from child labor, and roughly 4% from human trafficking. Since India's carpet industry sector employs about 2 million people, Kara suggests that within the workforce there are approximately 900,000 forced laborers and approximately 400,000 child laborers. In the state of Bihar, India, the researchers found 2 extremely filthy, dark, hot, and dangerous shacks that were filled with 27 boys in very poor conditions who had been child trafficked to do the carpet industry. The children were paid roughly 11 cents per hour. Women and children were paid 12% to 32% less than adult males. Factories and shacks were cramped, filthy, unbearably hot, covered in mold and humid, imperiled with stray electrical wires, which are a hazard, and rusty nails, filled with stagnant and dust-filled air, contaminated with grime and mold. Some sites were so filthy and covered in mold that researchers were afraid to enter due to the biohazard risk to their safety. Children in Nepal are known to be subjected to high amounts of sexual exploitation. For example, young boys and young girls can be sexually abused after they are trafficked for labor into the carpet industries in Nepal. While labor exploitation was the initial form of trafficking, the children could be later transferred from the carpet industry into full-time sex trafficking. A victim of capitalism was a boy, a Pakistani child labor and activist who campaigned against abusive child labor in Pakistan. He was assassinated on April 16, 1995 by the capitalist carpet mafia. In 1986, his father needed money for his son's marriage. Banks would not provide loans, so he took a loan from a carpet factory owner, using only the collateral he had, his children. The loan was to be paid off by 4-year-old son's labor. Due to the legality of selling children, the transition was informal, allowing the loaner to add arbitrary expenses to the loan without oversight. As a carpet maker, he was chained to a loom and made to work as much as 14 hours a day. He was fed very little and beaten on a regular basis, more than other children because of his attempts to escape and refusal to work. These conditions stunted his growth. He had the height and weight of a 6-year-old when he was already 12 years old. At age 10, he escaped his slavery after learning that bonded labor had been declared illegal by the Supreme Court in Pakistan, and he escaped and attempted to report to his employer, Ashed, to the police, but the police brought him back to the factory seeking a finder's fee for returning escaped bonded laborers. He escaped a second time and attended the Bonded Labor Liberation Front school for former child slaves and quickly completed a 4-year education in only 2 years. He helped over 3,000 Pakistani children that were bonded labor to escape for freedom and made speeches about child labor all over the world, fatally shot by the carpet mafia, a gang that killed slaves if they ran away from a carpet factory while visiting relatives. The carpet industry, the love for carpet is declining in recent years though. After dominating for decades, wall-to-wall carpet's share of floor covering market has plummeted in the United States since the millennium from about 60% of sales to roughly 1/3, according to Catalina Research. Blame Americans order up for hardwood, laminate, and tile. The perception that carpet is so 1970s, 80s, or 90s. Pick your decade. Bedrooms still have lots of carpet, but carpet is disappearing from the center of home living, dining rooms, and family rooms, and being replaced with rugs in those areas instead. Design trends come and go, but of course the carpet is also perceived to be as hard to clean, since it stains easily from pets, traffic, and spills. And also, carpet is a magnet for allergens and can cause respiratory ailments such as asthma or make asthma worse. The environmental impact of the carpet industry. About 75% of carpets are made of nylon, a durable and resistant fiber derived from crude oil. Extracting crude oil not only produces an extremely potent greenhouse gases that make the capitalism-caused climate change crisis pollution worse than ever before, but the manufacturing process for nylon also uses large amounts of water and energy, and lots of wastewater is produced. When new carpets are placed into U.S. homes, old carpets are torn up and discarded. It is often not, however, discarded in an environmental sustainable way. In fact, 89% of discarded carpet ends up in U.S. landfills to rot. Carpets alone constitute more than 3.5% of all materials placed in U.S. landfills every year. It equates to 4 billion pounds of material. If the carpet is made from synthetic materials, it degrades in landfills slowly, causing microplastic pollution, forever chemical pollution, and more. Degrading carpets can also contribute to methane emissions. The environmental effects don't end with land and air pollution. Carpets in landfills can leach dangerous chemicals, which can eventually end up in the water supply, polluting it with forever chemicals. Many carpets are designed to be stain and water resistant, and the chemicals used to give those properties are filled with forever chemicals. According to the report from the Washington State Department of Health, up to 90% of carpets on the market that were tested had detectable levels of the chemicals used for stain resistance in carpets include formaldehyde, which is a human carcinogen that causes cancer. 6% of discarded carpet is burned and incinerated. Last year, 206 million pounds of carpet were burned and incinerated in incinerators and cement kilns. Burning waste carpet causes more greenhouse gases and capitalism caused climate change pollution gases than coal. and if carpets made with PVC are incinerated or burned, detoxin will result. Dioxin is another known human carcinogen that has been proven to cause cancer. Mercury and lead can also be released from an incinerated burned carpet. It's not just the carpets that contain forever chemicals, it's the padding underneath as well. By affixing polyethylene sheet samples to ceilings, scientists measured volatile forever chemicals in the air of 9 carpeted kindergarten classrooms, 1 home, and the storage room of an outdoor clothing store in California, as well as 2 laboratories, 5 offices, and 1 classroom, 1 storage room, and 1 elevator at the University of Rhode Island, and 2 carpet stores in Rhode Island. Forever chemicals were detected in the air of nearly every location. Several kindergarten classrooms and rooms at the university had a higher indoor air concentrations of forever chemicals than the storage room of the outdoor clothing store, which was full of jackets and gear treated with forever chemicals. The highest concentrations were found in the 2 carpet stores. PFAS were formerly used as a stain and water repellent in most carpets, according to the paper's lead author, Maya. Forever chemicals and PFAS can be toxic to adults, and especially children, whose developing bodies are more vulnerable. Some PFAS and forever chemicals have been known to build up